Everybody got quiet? Good afternoon and welcome to our last meeting in June. We have a lot of people in the council chambers, and also we'll probably have a few people watching on the Electric City television. Our invocation tonight will be given by Councilmember Chapman, and respects to the flag will be led by Councilmember Cal Newton. Please rise.
We give thanks for the many blessings that you show us each and every day, however large or small. We ask that you continue to watch over and guide us. As with this in all times, we give thanks for our freedom, especially for the day. We pray for those who sacrifice so much to protect it, such as the men and women both far and near, past and present, who have served and who are serving in the country, for this country and the armed forces, so that we are able to gather here tonight as well as next week celebrate our independence of the United States. Locally, we pray and give thanks for our police officers and firefighters as they protect this city each day. We ask and give thanks for each of the department heads and their crews who work to serve this community, and we pray for their safety. And tonight we give thanks to our friend and fellow council member Buck Roberts, who has served his constituents and the city faithfully and proudly for 18 years. We pray for Buck and his wife Carol as they retire tonight, as he retires tonight, allowing him more time to spend with his children and especially his grandchildren. And now, Father, we ask for your guidance for our management team as well as this council here tonight, that all we say and do may be in the best interest of our citizens, our city, but most of all may be pleasing in your eyes. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Don't sit down, bro. Before we start our meeting, I do want to, on our agenda tonight, we do have a happy and a sad moment here. As Mr. Chapman stated, Buck Roberts is retiring from council for 18 years. And I appreciate, when I thought about some of the things I wanted to say, I thought that I jotted down just a few things that happened under Buck's leadership on his council and during the time that he was here. Elected in April 2000, he's seen a lot. He's seen elected officials come and go. He's seen a mayor come and go. And some of those folks are here in the audience, and Buck has overseen those activities. You know, I think probably Buck has seen all of our special events and venues grow. You know, from the days of chili cook-off to the soiree to the block party. I mean, you saw that part of everything grow. We when Buck started, there were 3 transit routes, and we're talking about that today. There are 5 of them now. You know, and that happened under Buck's watch. I was not here for this one. It was a controversial, but it was an important one. He saw the water system turn into Electric City Utilities. Remember that one?
Mayor, he remembers that one too.
This spot we're in right now, City Hall, Municipal Building Center, and the Rec Center.
Yeah.
And Buck served on the Rec Committee, so he was very involved in all of those things. We, more than anything, he helped everybody persevere through downtown revitalization. streetscapes and tearing down roads and those type of activities too. A couple other things before I open it up to other council members. I thought this was a big one. You saw the Built building, we tore it down and built Carolina Marine Port. And Buck was always, when he came to construction, he was always telling us what we should do and what we shouldn't do. Now, we didn't listen all the time. You probably could talk about that. Public art. I mean, we became more of a city that was recognized for public art. You know, from the big fish to statues and dog parks and the things that we've been doing with TVA. More recently, we just saw this Church Street Heritage Project completed. The Socoa renovation, the construction of a parking deck, and a lot of the stormwater projects that we've done from 4th Street to Lindley Park to Huntington Hills. And I even think about technology, the things that this building and how we communicate with each other, and the things, the technology that we've done. And so, from my point of view, those are the things that Buck Roberts has did for us. And what I'd like to do, Carol, would you come up for a second? And as Carol comes up, and Buck, I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk right here at the end. And, okay, we got some gifts here. One more, and here's a plaque that talks about some of the things I talked about, transits and pictures that maybe Buck Roberts, 6'3", from 2000 to 2008. That's cool. You're welcome. And Buck, if you would just hang with us, I'm going to see if these guys want to say anything to you. Turn around.
Start and work our way down.
Yeah, we'll start working our way down.
But, you know, one thing you've always said, and the one thing that sticks out to me more than anything is you always say it's the right thing to do. And that I've heard that 1,000 times from you. And I know you've lived your life that way, and it's an honor. I'm proud to be a Roberts. And great neighbor, I'm related to Buck. I'm not related to the mayor, but I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of you, and mentor and a good man. Thank you.
Mine's a little bit longer, Buck, so you have to bear with me. I jotted a few things down. I said, Mr. Buck Roberts, known as the legendary builder in the Anderson community. And I have worked with him the last 8 years on council, so I know him as a little different perspective. I know him. There are 3 key things that I've observed and learned while on council with Buck Roberts. Buck Roberts knew his role as a council member and policymaker. He set policy and relied on the staff to carry out those policies and only gave his personal expert advice whenever he was asked. And that was just a great example that you set for me. Buck has never asked me to vote on a certain way on an issue. We would discuss and share thoughts, and often I wouldn't be sure which way Buck was going to vote after our conversation. He left that decision up to me and for me to do what I was elected to do, which is sometimes make a difficult decision. Lastly, Buck Roberts led by example. He might not be vocal all the time. He listened, he digested the facts, he weighed his options, and when he spoke, his words and thoughts were listened to, and you knew they were thoughtful. And Buck, I think you got that from that thing you told me one time. You measure twice and cut once. And so, Buck Roberts, it's been a pleasure serving with you the past 8 years. I appreciate your wisdom, your attitude, and respect to your fellow council members, your choice of words at the right time, but most of all, I appreciate your friendship, and I look forward to the years to come of our friendship. Thank you.
All I can say, Buck, is you and I are friends.
As I told you before, there are times when you and I disagreed. There are times when you and I just absolutely, totally didn't have the same thing in mind. But at the same time, I respected you. You've always been somebody to look up to and respect, and I do respect you. But more than that is that you're my friend. And that means more to me than anything else that I could say about you. And I'm proud to have you as a friend.
I could stand up to see you. And the mayor and my fellow councilman have said so many things that I was thinking. But I too, like you, Mayor, had to write down some things so I wouldn't just ramble on and on and on. So I begin by saying it's been a blessing to know you and to serve on council with you for 18 years. I was here when you came, and I'm still here. Our council have been blessed with all you've shared with us to make all of us better public servants. I give you that, Buck, and I like that. For example, Buck, your wisdom, your talents, your integrity, your humor, your grace, your respect for all of us, we just thank you for that. Thank you for sharing those traits and so many others. Now, professionally, as a servant, you can't be beat. As Maddie said, maybe John, you're a quiet man. But when you spoke, we all listened because we knew you had something of substance to say, so we listened. But allow me to let you know how blessed I am personally to know you as my special friend.
Amen.
From the beginning, you and Carol embraced me and my family, and especially my husband Harry, with your friendship and your special relationships. I'll never forget our council and family boat rides on your wonderful boat as we went down Lake Harbor. And you even allowed me to steer the boat down around the property that once belonged to my family. Remember that?
I do.
And then I can't forget that when you travel to Helen, Georgia, I could always expect that you'd bring back to me and to Harry a special good bottle of wine.
Still do.
And hold you to it. But you leave a fantastic legacy to the city and to all of Anderson, which will be continued to grow with the addition of your son, Jeff. But let me tell you, Jeff, you got some big shoes to fill.
Jack knows.
So now, let me close by saying congratulations for your contributions to our city. You have been a true asset, and you will truly be missed. I love you and your family, so enjoy yourself and your family and your business. I mean, you won't give that up. So be happy and continue to be blessed. I love you much.
Well, Buck, I've enjoyed sitting beside you all these years. I certainly appreciate your integrity professionally as a fellow builder and as a council member. You always, I knew you where you stood, and you had the integrity to hold true to that, and you showed a good example for us, and I appreciate that. But as like all of us here on council, I'm gonna miss you as a friend sitting beside me. But I expect you to be sitting beside me to have a beer with John and I, like we always done the last several years. So, you have a wonderful family, and I know you're going to enjoy spending more time with them because you've got a fantastic family. But I know Jeff's got some big shoes to fill. But I know that because of your integrity and how you raised your family, he won't have any problem knowing what to do. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, I guess kind of as the new guy when I came on, has been less than 2 years, you kind of come a higher level of character and who's someone who took their job so seriously, you know, as a public servant. And you've been a great influence on me coming on. I appreciate that, and that's really stuck with me. You know, you were here, you were one of the first ones to welcome me aboard. And more importantly than that, though, is every time I see you, I don't know if you, even if you know that you do this, but whether I see you here or out in public, you never ask me, you know, about something that's going to be on the agenda regarding finance or some ordinance we've got going on. You ask me the same question. How are those two little ones doing? You know, you always start with what you deem and what I deem as well as, you know, a more important question. And that's something that's always stuck with me because, you know, you have your priorities straight. You realize there are greater things than you know, whatever our administrative briefing holds or what our old business is. There are things that, you know, take precedence over that. And that's something that's always stuck with me. You know, I hope that, you know, I can, you know, maybe in 18 years, you know, I can model that for someone else. Because thankfully, I guess the one advantage of you leaving is I'm no longer going to be the rookie. So now, that's your son now, so getting a little seniority. So, but really, you know, you've been great to me, and I appreciate everything you've done, you know, for me and my wife and my family. So thank you.
I'll use this one. A little closer than anybody.
Well, I don't know whether we'll make it through all this or not, but Council, I'll start with you. I appreciate every kind word you've said, but I'll miss you.
I'm gonna miss you.
Too.
That's okay.
I'm gonna miss y'all. I'm gonna miss my mayor that used to be here. I'm gonna miss John. Yeah, even though he's gone. Both of you were a big influence on me when I first started. Both of you were right there. You were a council person at that time. And these people that work at the city, my firefighters, my policemen, they all got to be friends. And it's hard to leave that. I wouldn't have left if I hadn't developed Parkinson's. That's been something that got me that I didn't think it ever happened to me. But I worked my way through that. Got a good wife and good children, and Jeff he'll fall right in my spot and you'll never miss a beat. Because he's a good boy. He's got a good family. I got a great family.
Amen.
3 children and 8 grandchildren. And all of you have been so kind to me. It's hard to leave something like that. So I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna try to come back when you got them zoning meetings. Where I can sit out there and do this or this. No, but I'll be back. Every once in a while when I feel like it, I'll come back. But I appreciate all of you. Appreciate the mayor. Mayor was right behind me all the way too, so.
Appreciate it. Ready to get it on?
Thank you, Bob.
Take a picture with you and your whole family.
Good.
Patrick, will you come? Yeah,
Come on, Dad. That's quite a group.
wrap around here.
Yeah, we didn't mention.
In that hole.
In that hole.
Which way y'all going? Y'all getting out of the way?
Just trying to get out of the picture. I guess we are.
Alright, 1, 2, 3. Big smiles. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Yay.
Mr. Mayor, while everybody's getting into their places, can I
Sure.
tell one quick story?
Yes, sir. Without-
But I just can't let this moment pass because I've got a great story that I think everybody will appreciate. As many of you know, Buck and I built what is now Synovus Bank. It was NBSC. And we got behind schedule because of the rain, and Buck told me that we were about 6 weeks away from being finished. And I called Columbia and told my boss, Mr. Farrago, that we were 6 weeks away. And he said, that will not do. It's got to be ready in 2 weeks. I'm coming up there tomorrow and lighting fire under Mr. Roberts' butt. So Mr. Farrago comes to Anderson and we meet at the property, and Buck tells him it's going to be 6 weeks when he hands him the key. And Mr. Farrago says, I want that key in 2 weeks. And Buck Roberts looked him in the eye and said, Mr. Farrago, said, the only 2 people in Anderson that know you is Richard Shirley and me. He said, but everybody who rides up and down North Main Street knows Buck Roberts. And you will have the key to this building when I'm proud to have my name on it. Amen. And he turned around and walked away. And Mr. Farrago looked at me and said, well, I guess you can order the food for 6 weeks from now. And Buck, whatever you touched, whether it was the NBSC bank building, whether it was home builders, whether it was city council, city hall, you name it, the name that you put on it is something that you can be mighty, mighty proud of. You have been a mentor to me for so many years, and I just thank you for what you have done for the city of Anderson. Forget Richard Shirley, forget everybody, the whole community thanks Buck Roberts for what he's done.
I should have told this. This is my 52nd year in home building.
Wow. Congratulations. Thank you all.
Thank you, that was great. Great comments. Before our next item, we have Shakespeare in the Park. And I'm going to get Mary Haley Thompson to come and give us an update and tell us all about this. That's okay.
Really hard to follow up, but congratulations, Buck. I mean, and a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight is a product of your experience, especially talking about Carolina Red Park and your vision. So we really appreciate your service and time with the city. So thank you, Mayor, City Council, Linda, and David, for letting us present tonight. Y'all know I usually don't present in an outfit like this, but this is my ghost puppeteer outfit because I'm manning the puppet of Hamlet's father's spirit. This is my camouflage. But we wanted to get in front of you all for several reasons. One is to thank you so much, and I'm going to get back to that in a second. Number 2 is to kind of go over the success of what Shakespeare in the Park has really been the past few days. Number 3, introduce this amazing production staff and one of our very special cast members. And then number 4, to invite you to our last performance tonight. Number 1, in thanking City Council for 2 things. Number 1 was a project that was before my time, but Carolina Red Park and setting and building the infrastructure for events like this being with the city the past 3 years and having my hands on so many events, I cannot tell you how incredible our park is for concerts, vendor festivals. We have Fresh Taste there, and theater. I mean, we have actors the past few years that have jumped on the seat walls and hollered from the pavilion. This year we have motorcycles coming in the pavilion and a rock band right above the water wall. And in case it rains, which it's probably going to tonight, we move right into the pavilion. And the pavilion, the acoustics are incredible. So everything is right there. And I can't tell you how many groups, outside groups and local groups, that I bring in that are just blown away by Carolina Red Park. And it's the whole reason that we're able to do this. So thank you so much for that and your vision. It's my job to take those resources and make sure to let you know about your, the return on investment with Shakespeare in the Park. We have resources to put it on, and the past few days we've been collecting surveys for an economic impact study. And by tomorrow we'll know what that total amount is. But it has a huge impact on our downtown businesses. People, before they come to the show, they're eating at Summer Joe's or going to Figs for ice cream. People are bringing their pizza boxes, and downtown is packed. We had hundreds of people. I don't know the number yet, but it was packed the past few nights. The quality of this performance pulls people, not only locals, but visitors from everywhere, because Anderson's really set the bar for this production. It's a national, Shakespeare in the Park is a national initiative, and Anderson has gotten a lot of recognition the past few years, and especially this year, we were featured in Electric City News, Anderson Independent, the Greenville News, and the American Theater magazine, which was huge. It just casts a national spotlight on Anderson, and that's such a testament to your vision and support. So I can't thank you enough. And I'm gonna now pass it to our production team that has made all this happen. So if Rob, you wanna introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your vision for this year?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I just want to say thank you, first of all, for this amazing opportunity. I'm a new director to the Shakespeare in the Park. The last 3 years it's been directed by Dr. David Larson. He's done an amazing job building it, and so I've been pleased to try to step into those shoes. Can't do it, but I'm doing what I can do, and had this idea for huge ghosts and for I can't even tell you all the things, all the ideas that came out of my mouth, and then to have these two say, yeah, I think we can do that. And so I was amazed that they thought they could do it and that they came alongside me. And then, of course, we have Ben, who I think is just incredible, and who I've been saying, I would pay money in a good theater to see you do Hamlet. And he really is amazing. If you have a chance, come see him do this title role. He is truly amazing. So thank you. As you can tell, I'm kind of tongue-tied because it's been a great experience. It really has. And I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
I remember, I'm Diana Lee, and I'm the producer of Shakespeare in the Park, and have done this for the past 4 years. And I remember 4 years ago, Ruth Ann Terry said, we have this park, and I got this little bitty grant, and I want to do Shakespeare in the Park. And I'm going, yeah. And we made it happen, and it was so much fun that evening, or that production, that we continued it. And every year the city, every time we ask you all for something, you say, oh yeah, we can do that. And I know how incredible that is, having been in the arts my whole life, but also worked with county council and city council and all kinds of government agencies. I just know, that doesn't always happen. You don't always have people that say, this is really good for Anderson. Last night, I estimate we had 400 to 500 people in the park. The night before, we had 300 to 400 people. The first night, when it poured down rain right before we were going on, we just said, okay, everybody, come on over to the pavilion. We had 100 people that stayed for 2.5 hours in the pavilion because they were so riveted by Ben's performance and there's some other actors in this too. I do want to tell you that I called about 35 motorcyclists and I got 3 really good ones. You know how that goes. So anyway, if you get a chance after your meeting tonight, please come over. I have a feeling we'll be in the pavilion because the weather map is looking kind of ominous, but we'll be ready for you, and I'd like to give Ben just a second to say hello to y'all.
Thank you.
I can probably project. Anyway, my name is Benjamin Otto Sunderman. This has been a thrilling ride to portray Hamlet, which is one of the best roles. I extend my greatest appreciation to all of you for supporting this and collaborating with us on this. Not only for myself as an actor, an incredible opportunity, but as a person with my special or a particular situation, this role has been an outlet for me to reach out to people in our community that wouldn't normally come to a production like this. Last night, a father came from Greenville with his 5-year-old who was also in a wheelchair, and his 5-year-old was nonverbal, but except for a few words, and he'd been rehearsing one thing to say to me for several days, apparently, and he came up to me and he said, "Break a leg." And it wasn't for everything that you guys have done to support this project, I wouldn't have been able to have that incredible experience. So thank you guys so much, and the show is really good, not because of just me, but because of everybody involved. And so if you have the time tonight, please come out and check it out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mary Haley. Thank you for introducing us to everyone. The minutes of our June 11th meeting have been distributed. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Not hearing any. Do I have a motion to approve? I have a first by Mr. Buck Roberts.
Second.
Second by Dr. Thompson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes of June 11th pass unanimously. We have 2 items of old business, and the first item is request second reading of Ordinance 18-08 adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2018-2019. Ms. McCollum?
As you all know from our prior work on the budget and certainly our last reading, the recommendations in the budget document represent a real collective and collaborative approach of all of our divisions for the delivery of services that our citizens expect and that they desire, for our ability to address strategic priorities of council, and to provide for capital maintenance and improvement of our facilities and our infrastructure. Those things are important to us for our competitive advantage and our ability to continue to grow and develop our city. So this budget represents your expected revenues, expenditures, and your cost over the 12-month period. And it represents financial best practices by adhering to conservative revenue projections, by knowing what our funding is for recurring levels. It is also a balanced budget, and I'd like to turn it over to Margot Martin, our Finance Director, to tell you just a few more highlights.
Okay, the total budget for the fiscal year 2018-2019 is projected at $68,255,553. Some of the item highlights in this year's budget is the tax millage is going to remain the same at 116 mills. As you remember, we rolled this back last year from 118 mills with the reassessment. The utilities do have a rate change, a 6% or $1.43 a month for water customers and a 3% or $1.40 per month for sewer customers. These rate changes provide for investment in continuing infrastructure needs and customer demands, as well as an increased cost such as purchased water. The 5-year capital plan for utilities includes $10 million of improvements in the water system and $21 million sewer improvements. The water rates have not changed since July 1st of 2011. This budget also has a health insurance increase only on the employer side of 7.4%. There's a 1% mandated increase for police and fire, PORS retirements, it's in the budget. 2% cost of living increase for our city employees. The CPI this year was at 2.13%. We do have some new positions in this year's budget. Assistant Police Chief, Crime Analyst, and 4 additional police officers patrol for the downtown and adjacent areas. We have $2.4 million in there for the roof and building envelopes at City Hall and the Municipal Business Center. We had a public hearing on June 11th, 2018 prior to the council meeting, and no one from the public was in attendance. Council, you approved this on first reading on June 11th, and we are requesting second reading of this ordinance for the 2018-19 budget.
Thank you. And I will open it up for questions or comments.
I move that we approve the budget on second reading.
First by Dr. Thompson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Horvan. Any further discussion, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimous on the second and final reading. Thank you. That's a lot of hard work. Everybody take a breath.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Margaret, you did a good job. You and your team did.
I appreciate all the division heads as well who helped.
For sure. The next item of old business requests second reading of Ordinance 1809, adopting the 2017-2018 budget.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is something that you've certainly seen before, in addition to not just the 2 weeks ago, but from time to time in the budget year, you have things that you approve that were not in the initial budget, and Margot's going to share a little bit about that topic as well.
I did say adopted, I meant amending.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead, Margaret.
Oh, yes, we adopted, now I'm going to amend. This, I'm requesting approval of an ordinance to amend our current year 2017-18 annual budget by increasing the general fund budget $324,000, capital fund budget $40,000, economic development budget $11,000, and the TIF budget by $145,000. Budget amendment is not to amend operating costs because maybe we forecasted incorrectly, but the budget amendment is to reflect council-approved financial decisions or expenditures during the fiscal year that were not in the original budget. The amendments allow the budget and the audit to more accurately reflect actual revenues received or expenditures made that were unknown when the budget was originally adopted. Therefore, in the future years, comparisons between budget and actual are more meaningful. So I did not... Behind the agenda sheet is the detailed list of all the budget amendments. I can read those for you if you'd like, or I could just skip on to request approval of the Ordinance 1809 amending the 17-18 annual budget. Council did approve this on first reading on June 11th.
I think we will skip on here. And we had ample time to digest it all. Are there any other comments or questions?
Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to approve Ordinance 1809 amending the 17-18 annual budget.
Thank you. First by Mr. Newton.
Second.
Second by Mr. John Roberts, Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That ordinance passes unanimously on the second and final reading.
Thank you.
We'll move directly to new business, and the first item of new business is request consideration of a grass and weed cutting contract for code compliance. Ms. McConnell?
This is that time of year when weeds tend to be the things that grow rampant, even when grass and other vegetation seems to suffer from either too much rain or too little rain. And our code and our budget provides for our ability to address these overgrown lots by contracting out the service to grass cutting vendors who will take care of these properties during this time of year. As you will note in your backup, this year looks a little different from the years past in terms of the total amount of money as well as the total amount of lots that we have included within our bid package. The reason why the number of lots is much smaller this year is because most of these lots, or a lot of these lots, come to us by way of the forfeited land commission. Those are lots that are no longer acknowledged as being owned by anybody or cared by persons, and they go into this commission that the county is in control of. This year, when the county put those lots up for auction, individuals purchased a lot of these lots, and that's why the number is so much smaller. We did put it out for bid. Included in that is an initial price for the cleanup and then the subsequent mowing of those lots, really on a 2 to 3 week rotation basis. So generally speaking, we expect to cut those lots about 8 times a year. We received 4 bids from Blast Brothers, who also is doing business as Smoke Salon Service. That was $10,620. DS and Sons, $11,945. Cutting Edge Lawn Solutions for $22,390. And Golden Corner Landscaping for $81,577. You might ask, as we did, the large variation in the pricing. The Golden Corner Landscaping is out of Seneca, and our information would tend to indicate that that particular company didn't quite understand the level of maintenance that we were requesting, and perhaps because of that, not understanding the whole scope, I think that is an indication of that higher price tag. We do include $17,500 in the building department's budget to handle this, so that's where the funding have an understanding of our expectations. But we certainly recommend approval of the low bid to Smoke Salon Service, $10,620.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
I move that we go ahead and approve.
That was first by Mr. Lockridge, second by the Mayor Pro Tem. Discussion?
Quick question, Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Harvey.
Whenever a contract like this, how is that compensated to the vendor? Is that on a monthly basis?
Yes, it is, and it's based upon, if you notice the bid sheet, or the properties are identified by their address and their tax map number. So when they invoice us, they invoice us based, so we know
what they've cut.
Correct.
Okay.
And we inspect it each time before we make the payment.
Okay.
Good question. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. Our next item of new business is request consideration to purchase software to expand our document management system. Ms. McConnell.
We talked a little bit earlier during Buck's tenure, as well as many of you up here, as well how technology has continued to evolve in our city and help us do our business. This particular item of new business about our software is one of these bits of technology that we've been using for the last 3 years, and now we'd like to expand it to other areas. I'd like to call on Mark Cunningham to share those details, please.
All right, thank you. For the past 15 years or so, we've been using a document management software package for finance and wastewater. What this does is mainly allows us to scan in copies of documents. In finance, they use it for council minutes, agenda packets, accounts payable, checks, things like that. In our wastewater, they use it for tap cards, sewer tap cards. So they scan these in, they're indexed, and they're able to be retrieved. So the current software that we've been using, which is DocStar, we were notified about a year ago it was going into life. At that point, we'd already started using a product from Sharp called iSynergy. Sharp, they provided all the technology in the council chambers. They've also do all of our copiers and printers. And about 3 years ago, when Public Works needed a document management solution, we looked to them for that solution, and they've been using that for about 3 years now. So very pleased with that. What we're proposing tonight and how we came to this decision, we formed a committee of the people that actually use it, the hands-on users, so the finance people. The plan is to expand this into HR. Currently, we've got if you've been to HR, you've seen there's file cabinets of paper files right now. The plan is to expand into HR so they can scan those documents in. We're also, sewer department's going to use it. It'll be available for any other department, but we're looking to expand past the iSynergy into DocuPhase, which is, if you've ever heard of OCR, optical character recognition, it scans the documents, it indexes every word of the document, so the entire document is searchable. So we're really stepping it up. The committee, we saw 2 different presentations from Sharp as well as our old vendor, and the people that use the software on a daily basis were unanimous in choosing Sharp to move forward. It also gives us the opportunity to expand into the more advanced software at Public Works if we choose so, just by adding users. So the costs were listed there. Total cost of $22,865 to purchase the software, and then there'd be an annual maintenance for $4,800, and it has been added in the budget, and the different departments are listed there. Finance, $8,374, HR, $8,374, law, which is the city attorney, $2,395, and the sewer fund $3,724, with water admin paying the annual support of $4,800. So we feel that this is a strong product. We've got experience with it, and for us on the IT side, it's real important that we stay consistent with our software. So this will be our one vendor for document management moving forward, and we don't have to try to keep 2 different vendors and 2 different software companies going at the same time. So it's our recommendation that we go with Sharp for this purchase.
Thank you. Questions, Ms. Chapman?
Is this hardware-based or is it cloud-based?
It's hardware-based. It's going to be hosted here.
So this isn't. This would be another form of backup, because I'm sure we have some kind of
software that Public Works is using. Sharp provides the backup service for that. We store it locally, and they back it up off-site. The one thing that we've discussed with this is we're going to start handling the backup. The backup solution that we use that's off-site allows us unlimited data. So whenever you're talking about scanning and images, the data can add up. And in order to reduce the cost for this purchase, we're gonna do the backup ourselves. If we would've let Sharp do the backup, the cost would've been more.
Because we already back up everything.
We already back up in the environment, everything in the environment anyway, right?
Excellent, thanks.
You're welcome.
Good. Anything else? Ms. Harvey?
And that was the backup that we've done this in the last year and a half to get that unlimited backup.
We went to that backup provider a little over a year ago.
Now, I remember distinctly because we went with that provider because they had an unlimited
Right.
amount.
Absolutely.
And I think you said then, because down the road, we were going to be looking at adding
Right.
to that, yeah. Okay, thank you. With that, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
First by Mr. Holden,
Second.
second by Mr. Newt. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Mark. The last item of new business is request consideration of an ordinance to amend section 28-200 of the Anderson City Code regarding security deposits. Ms. McConnell?
Well, we seem to be talking about a lot of new things, but we're also talking about some old things too. And one that is under consideration tonight has to do with our electric city utilities, our water system, and regarding the security deposits. And Margot's going to share some more information about that.
All right, yes, we are requesting consideration of amending section 78-200A of the City of Anderson Utilities Ordinance. Now, this payment history for utility customers that came over when we bought the water system. We also had very limited operating cash at the time until we could get our billing cycles started, so we implemented the security deposit requirement as part of the ordinance when we established rates in 2002. Now that the city is established with working cash flows, the city would like to amend the deposit requirement for existing utility customers in good standing. So we are requesting amending the first section of the security deposit ordinance to add a sentence that says a security deposit will not be required for establishing a new service or transferring accounts for customers of good standing, which is defined as 12 months of timely payments and no disconnection of services. So that's the section we would like to add, and that's what I'm requesting first reading on tonight.
Thank you. We've talked about this. Any other additional comments or questions?
It's a really good idea. It makes total sense.
Yeah, I'd just like to mention I appreciate the staff making the effort to look into it, and I think it would be a positive move showing good faith to our good customers. So with that, I'd make a motion we accept it on the first reading.
Second.
First and a second by Mr. Buck Roberts. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously on the first reading. Administrative briefing, Ms. McConnell.
Well, we're almost at the end of June, so in July, please note that our offices will be closed for Independence Day on Wednesday, July the 4th. And kind of one bit leftover business is our discussion relative to an overlay district in the Anderson University area. That 2 public meetings are scheduled. One is scheduled for Thursday, July the 12th. A second one, Thursday, July the 26th. Both of those will be at the Young Memorial ARP Church on the Boulevard. And both of those essentially are expected to follow sort of the same format. We know it's summertime, people's schedules are busy. So if you can't make both of those meetings, at least you can make one. And that gets us started through the middle of July at least. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Lockridge.
I would also like to add to our list a community meeting that will be held the 17th of July. It will be at the Rec Center at 6:30. It's for basically my ward, but
Okay.
you're welcome to come if you would like to. So
What time? 6:30?
6:30
Okay. Good.
at the Rec Center.
Maybe we can shoot out an email too, so everybody can get that
Got
on the
that.
calendar. Thanks. All right, we have an executive session. Ms. McCollum?
We do have one item in executive session. We don't expect there to be any votes, but it is for the purpose of discussion of negotiations incident to propose contractual arrangements and proposed sale or purchase of property, and we would recommend that we go into executive session.
Great. I would
Recommend we move into executive session.
first by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Mr. Lockridge. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stay in executive session. Are we gonna stay in here, Lynn?
Yes, please.
Okay. We'll ask y'all to step out for a second.
Yes, please.
There's one.
Carol, hang around.
Oh. Good deal.
They're on there.
She's
All
right
right.
with me, Reed.
Hey, Buck, she's always faithful.
I would entertain a motion to come out of executive session. First by Mr. Buck Roberts, second by Mr. Lockridge. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? In executive session, we had a administrative briefing on section 30-4-7A2 in regards to the agreements within that section of the code. There was no, just an update, we don't have any action to put forth on the floor in regards to that section.
Do we no longer have coverage by the press?
Ma'am?
Do we still have coverage by the press?
They might be watching on TV.
And I think just because of the election, I know that,
Oh, the election.
yep.
Election is tomorrow.
Yep. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. First by Buck Roberts, Buck Roberts.
D. Buck Roberts.
Second by Dr. Thompson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.
Then I might as well take this with me.
Yes, sir.